Good morning, everybody. Orange A here with another AFK Journey video, and today we are going to do the Ultimate Alsa guide. Now, I say Ultimate guide, that's a little tongue-in-cheek. It's only day 2 of her being out, but she's not a super hard character to understand, and she has a ton of potential. Like, the ceiling of potential on this character is S rank if you can build her in the right teams. She is definitely reliant on her teammates to set her up to succeed. Her ultimate is actually not her most important skill. We're going to go over all that. I'm going to show you several different team comps that you can use to make her work, and specifically to make her work at different times in a fight. So first I want to talk about what her most important skills are, and her most important skill is actually Rolling Boulder. Now, she senses the vibration of ley lines, how magical, to locate all enemies recently affected by control effects. Then little rocks are going to form over their head, fall on their head, and hit them for a lot of damage. This is actually like her core ability, in my opinion. If you can crowd control your enemies, she will just drop rocks on their head. Now, there's a 12-second cooldown on this, but if you're in, like, double speed or whatever, you don't even really have, it's pretty quick. It happens all the time. A lot of units in this game revolve around their ultimate more than she does. Now, her ultimate is pretty good, but in my opinion, her ultimate is more of if the fight gets not to be exactly how you set it up, because oftentimes with this character, you want a fight to go a very specific way, and many times, the AI doesn't work with you, or your enemy has built a decent defense, and so the fight doesn't go exactly your way. That's where her ult is her way of setting herself up to do a lot of damage. It makes her harder to kill. She's jumping around the map, and she's able to stun people. Essentially, she's going to turn into a ball, go into combat stance, deal damage, a nice big chunk of damage, 300% plus 20 to adjacent enemies, and a little bit of an AoE, go into her combat stance, and then once she's in her combat stance, her ult will start going off more and more, particularly depending on how much you've leveled up her exclusive equipment. And as she's ulting and like bouncing around the map and bouncing into people, she is stunning them, triggering, you guessed it, her most important move, Rolling Boulder. So that's really what she does. You stun people on the enemy team, she drops stuff on them. That's great. She can give herself some more haste here with hero focus. You absolutely want to level up all 3 of those things. And this move, the one they showed off in the video, is honestly just kind of annoying. Like, it doesn't suck. It certainly doesn't suck. It does damage and it does put those rocks up. But I swear in the preview video, they showed this move blocking projectiles. It does not do that. It does not block projectiles, or at least not that I've seen, and sometimes it can kind of mess up your movement on the map, but I'm sure there might be some cheese strategies for that later. Okay, now, what I want to do next is show off some team comps with her and go over why those comps work and how. All right, next I want to show off a different comp for her. Like I said, the iron comp is the most obvious one. Here is a different variant you can run on that comp, or a different comp you can just run that doesn't include iron. Let's say, for example, you have a Brutus and you really want to use your Brutus. You can use any tank in this formation that you want. I'm going to use Brutus just for a different example. Then I got my girl, right? We're going to use her because this video is about, our girl Alsa here. Then I'm going to go with delayed crowd control in this one. Brutus has delayed crowd control. His taunt counts as CC. Cecia has an AoE summon that does AoE crowd control. Florabelle has eventually once her bar fills up, she has a big AoE knockup that counts as crowd control. And then I'm going to bring a healer in, Rowan, to help them get that off faster. So watch how this one works. I'm actually going to switch up their positions a little bit. Let's play this one. I'm going to again try to play this at 1x speed so we can watch it happen a little better. There's the taunt. The taunt only got 1 person, so that's a very poor initial opening here, but this is not an initial big burst comp. This is let my summoners build up. Boom, Cecia drops Carlisle in the back, AoE, root on them, summons the boulders. Here comes Florabelle. She's going to bring out her big hammer bro. Boom, big hammer bro, boulders up. Now, when the cooldown on the boulders is off, they'll turn into boulders and fall. And that's a different variation you can do to play with Alsa that does not involve Iron, because I think Iron's going to be the one you see the most. But here you can see the most damage in this was Floribel, but you did have her providing some backup damage. In this comp, she's not necessarily the star all the time, but she provides that extra level of burst that you often need if you're running like a single summon. Okay, here's an example of a map where you might want to use kind of a mix of the two, like an Iron plus a delayed crowd control that you can maybe manual into an AoE. So here's our Alsa. She's kind of again, she's the featured unit in this, so that's why we're going to feature her no matter what. Iron's going to start off with the Alsa combo, but I'm going to manual Cecia's ult for later in the fight to make sure I'm getting a second big AoE follow-up. I have Rowan here trying to power her up a little bit more. We're waiting for her to get ready. Alsa's in ball mode trying to, help herself pop off a little bit. Iron goes with the big CC himself, and once Iron groups him up, I'm going to have Cecia pop in over the top, and there's that like layered AoE damage and the big burst. You see that? Like boom, those rocks came down, we're bursting everybody. But then this is also kind of the annoying part of this comp in a way. We have all these walls, and I'm not saying we lost this because of the walls, but maybe we should have found a way to focus down that Reese who was running around in the back. If we look at our damage there, yeah, we probably should have killed that unit. Our highest damage unit was the big burst that we got from our Alsa and the big burst we got from Thorin's ult as well. So that's just kind of an example. I'll have to like fine tune that one a bit. I took a loss on that stage, but pushing AFK stages is hard. That's the potential of like those. That's the way you kind of use her there. Now let's do some PvP. Okay, so we're currently sitting rank 30. We're going to run in here and do a challenge. Our power level's about 700k. Hawking here. I mean, at this point, like, here's the deal with you when you get to read this high. If I try to fight this person, like, let's just go look at their comp real quick. This will be a fun thing to look at. Oh, look. It's Scarlita at 4 stars and Dianel at 4 stars. Don't fight that. Nothing you do is going to beat that comp. Instead, look for stuff that's closer to like your power level. And if you want a challenge, look for people who are almost exactly your power and maybe, running something cool. So here we go. This is a Vala comp. So Vala, Rainier. Okay, so let's build a team with our girl Alsa to see if we can beat this. Now, the easiest way to counter Vala is to use Igor, in my opinion. So we're going to drop Igor back here as the anti-Vala. I'm going to use the initial burst from Iron to set up my Alsa to do her damage, and then we're just going to go with like kind of a classic move here. I'm going to make sure their Rainier can't swap me. I'm going to use our girl Carolina to do that follow-up with Alsa with the Iron, and thank you, Ivan, for that really loud noise. All right, here we go. Let's see how this works. So we've got I feel like we neutralized the Vala right off the bat by just playing the Igor. And then there's our initial round of CC. Igor jumps in, the initial burst drops, and it looks like we've pretty much deleted the whole team. Minus a couple. It looks like we got 2 kills right off the bat. And then our Alsa is able to go in, find another kill straight away. We are on to their Vala now. Carolina, being herself as like maybe a more reliable sustained damage dealer, is able to kill the Vala, and we blew that team off the map. Like that was successful right there, and our team did exactly what it wanted. If we look at the damage output, look, there's Carolina and there's Alsa right next to each other as those like big time carries. You can see why other people have compared these two, especially with the Iron. Now maybe let's try another fight, but not using Iron. Like, can she work without Iron? I think she can. Let's see it. Okay, this time I'm going to run a more single damage focus comp with her and see how she does. So I'm going to try to target this Carolina on the defense team. Carolina, definitely the big carry in this squad. I don't know if I have a way of actually accessing, getting at Arden easily enough, but I can have my Sylvina target their Carolina in the back, and then I believe I can have my Vala. So I'm going to have both my assassins target their Carolina with crowd control. So when Sylvina jumps back there, she will crowd control her, triggering the follow-up damage in theory from Alsa, and then we'll see how it plays out. So boom, she jumps in. You can see the rocks are up there. Val is targeting her. We're already in ball form here, and we blow her up. That triggers the fear, and you can see the fear put more follow-up crowd control effects on the enemy team, proccing it. And even though it was a single target burst comp, we actually did a decent amount of AoE damage to the team as long as, and this is how Vala comps kind of work, right? As long as we could assassinate that one character, Alsa was a nice complement to that by adding another level of burst. And so once again, she's working in teams, and yeah, she was our main damage dealer there. Even though a lot of those numbers are inflated because she's doing AoE damage, this focused damage is probably a little bit more valuable, especially if you can make it so that enemy Carolina does 0, you're probably going to win. But if we look at this replay right here, like, let's watch that again. So they crowd control all of us, whatever. We immediately crowd control their Carolina, and now we're damaging her. Boom. The big rock fall comes in, and she's toast. Like, our Vala hasn't even ulted yet. By the time our Vala ults, we've already done more AoE damage because of the fear, and Vala's ult is able to kill the second target. That's kind of nutty too, and it's less obvious than the Iron comp, and maybe not as good in a lot of like AFK pushing stages, or maybe not as good in general in the Tower of Abyss. But any comp where you are crowd controlling people and want some extra burst on either a single target or a lot of targets, that's what Alsa does. And then, like I said, her ball form, all the rest of her kit is just so she has something to do kind of in the whole rest of the fight. So there you go, guys. That's my Alsa guide. I'm not even going to throw her into Dream Realm because like just looking at her, I don't think she's even going to be near the top tier in many of these stages. I hope somebody proves me wrong. I think she's cool. If you've been on the fence about pulling her, hey, there's what I think about her. I would say she does exactly what she's supposed to do really well, and power-wise reminds me of somewhere about where Floribel was. She's good for the game. She amplifies certain comps. She does not break the game in any way. So if you're saving for like the next game-breaking character, who knows? Maybe that's Soren, the A-rank character, in a few weeks or whatever, or maybe it's our next S-rank character. Who knows if it's our next hypogen character? You better be saving for a long time. Okay, thank y'all for watching. Have a good day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.